This is Corin. She is a physical DPS PG-13 rated Bloodborne hunter that has been around since the game was launched, and I've been playing her since day one. She's undoubtedly the queen of boss trading, and I don't even need to explain to you why. The clips kinda just speak for themselves. You exchange mobility and mob clearing capabilities for extreme physical attack. But the thing is, in this current meta, there are already agents that can clear mob fast and also deal tons of damage to bosses, which makes it kinda pointless to use her. But despite having all these agents, I still find myself coming back to her. So the question is, why? Why would I, or anyone else for that matter, dump thousands of hours into mastering her? So I would like to spend this entire video talking about her.
You stopped. Is it because I was secretly peeling apples with my saw?
Now, Corin EX may seem simple on the surface, but it's actually more complicated than you might think. Her EX is actually split into 3 different parts: her spinning slash, extended slash, and explosion. Together they cause 80 energy. Now this is interesting because her EX is a constant use attack. This high of an energy cost is only seen in single use attack. EX that cause high energy for invulnerability and instant damage, and constant use are attack that lingers around in exchange for being vulnerable. But somehow, Corin EX only inherit the downside of the two, that being the high energy cost and vulnerability. It also takes a long time to recharge, taking roughly 13 seconds to recharge, while Piper can almost get a full bar in that amount of time. And Bernice can use as much as she wants, as long as she has the energy for it. The extended slash lasts about 3 seconds, and it should be mentioned that you don't actually use the whole bar. Yes, you only use about 3/4 of it, because the energy adjusts based on how long you use it. So let's say you're fighting an enemy, and you don't have enough time to use your extended slash, then it only costs about this much. But if you do actually use it for like, I don't know, a second, then it also doesn't cost much. I should also say that the spinning splash animation grants you invulnerability. Trust me, it's more useful than you might think.
Instead, we're gonna go up to Quadrant 2 and we're gonna talk about Corin, who is our corner character for the low payoff and very high effort. This character is so shy that she absolutely does not want to show her face on the field until the enemy is stunned and you have all your buffs up. Like, if there are multiple enemies on the field and you only are able to stun one of them at a time, oh dude. Oh no. You have to focus on using this character against bosses only, pretty much. And I don't know, I find that really annoying, especially when you're playing this character. Like, she has no cleave at all, and then when she's able to do single target damage, she shreds, okay? But having to set up that specific scenario is really annoying.
When most people play Corin, they usually play her by, well, not playing her at all, since her main ordeal is the EX attack, and it is so painfully easy to lose it and have to wait for a recharge again. Most people tend to play her very conservatively, opting to only use her when the enemy is stunned, because that's the point where you can deal the most damage. But I can confidently say that this playstyle is completely wrong, and you shouldn't play like this at all. Instead, what you should be doing is actively using her chainsaw, whether the enemy is stunned or not. The key here is knowing when to use her chainsaw. The first is when you have all your buffs ready, and the second is when you have your ultimate. In case where the enemy is stunned, you'll still have some way to deal damage. In short, the life of a Corin's player is an unfair one. You'll struggle a lot, but if you carefully look for your advantages, you'll eventually get that dopamine rush. Unfortunately, the cons outweigh the pros. On one hand, she is extremely easy to play. I mean, all you have to do is press E and your enemies get torn to shreds. But on the other hand, she is hard to master. Because her kit is too simple, you need to use a bit more skill. You can't simply turn off your brain and play. You need to time your chainsaw correctly. The second con is she is a high investment character. Because if you want to see that juicy damage, you need to raise up her crit damage. And that means a lot of time and resources. This one is probably the hardest, since it depends a lot on your chances on getting appropriate disk drive and vengeance. Even till now, I struggle a lot with this, because even with a crit damage of 194, mine is still not the most optimal. Date somehow has 200. What? That's already ridiculous, but somehow there are still people out there with a higher crit damage that can clear out bosses within seconds. So we finally circle back to the beginning of the video. Why? Why spend so much effort learning Corin? Well, there's a lot to learn and it's fun to master a mechanic, but it has nothing to do with her overall effectiveness. In fact, she is one of the least used agents in the game. She struggles a lot on challenging game modes, such as Endless Tower. So if you were to spend hours maining a character, isn't it better to main somebody who can play in this type of game modes? It's a totally fair question, but the answer is much more simple. It's because she's fun, and that's all there is to it. Do you really need the most up-to-date character just to have fun? In this current meta, where everyone is trying to have the best time and the most insane amount of damage, having fun matters now more than ever. I'm also describing the underdogs effects here, where characters that are typically weak and difficult to play end up being more interesting as a result. Yes, Billy is also one of the least used characters in the game, but that didn't stop people from taking him to floor 100. There's also a sense of satisfaction that comes with playing a weak character. Winning with the most meta character doesn't feel good as winning by pushing yourself to the limit with a character. At the end of the day, I don't have the final say on a character. Choose whoever you want, play whoever you want, just as long as you are having fun.